Now, something I found just a little bit gratifying was that scene of a shirtless David Ajala. I think they put that scene in this episode specifically for me. What's up, Trek Nation? I'm Tasha Pierce, and welcome back to After the Snap. And if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the first episode of Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, just keep watching. Now, if you can't tell, I am very excited about the season premiere of Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. And just to jump everything off, I think the team behind this episode made some awesome decisions. And the first of which was to not insult us by having Discovery and Burnham arrive in the future at the same time. I think it was imperative for us to see that this didn't just work out like magic, that there are consequences for them traveling in time to be together. And the biggest consequence of all was that they would not arrive together, that they would have to search for one another. Now, we know that eventually they find one another and that things become, okay, but the initial separation was, to me, very important. Another thing that I really enjoyed was Burnham's reaction to finding out that there was life on the planet that she landed on. And, of course, meeting Cleveland Booker, besides meeting in space where they kind of collided and things just went to hell. But when they got on the planet and she met Cleveland, I really appreciate the beatdown that she put on Cleveland. And let me tell you, in this initial meeting with Cleveland Booker, I ain't like him. Didn't like him one bit. And I thought that he was going to be this kind of anti-hero character. But more on Cleveland as we move on. We also got to see Sonequa Martin Green's range. This lady got to show us elation, anxiety, strength, weakness. We got to see her take a comedic turn when she got hit in the face with the truth pollen, is what I'm calling it. So when she got hit with the truth pollen, she got to show us a side of Burnham that we have never seen. And this, to me, was one of the best things about this episode. And then speaking of her kind of relationship or coming together with Book, I'm glad they didn't meet one another and just become best friends, because that's not realistic either. It is very Star Trek, but it is not a realistic Star Trek, if you get what I'm saying. It's even right now in the 21st century, things don't happen like that. So I'm glad that, again, the director and the writers trusted us to know enough to know that this is not the way things happen. They're not going to just meet and all of a sudden love each other and will be able to, or be willing to walk through walls for one another. That did not happen initially. Now, something I found just a little bit gratifying was that scene of a shirtless David Ajala. I think they put that scene in this episode specifically for me. And when I saw his kindness towards Burnham at this time, I'm like, okay, I got more than one reason to like him now. Not only is he in touch with nature, and not only is he a spiritual being, but he fine as hell. David Ajala is fine. And I knew that before he took the shirt off, but once he took the shirt off, I was like, okay, this man is fine. Now, when we met Grudge the cat, I'm going to let you know, I'm not much of an animal person, and it's not a knock to people who are, and it's not to say that I dislike animals. That's a scary ass cat. That's a scary looking cat. I would be afraid of Grudge. I'm probably more afraid of Grudge than I would have been of that big worm, that hypnotizes people in order to kill them. And again, the writers and directors made awesome decisions with making Book unlikable in the beginning, giving us an initial response to him that would have not been positive, and then moving on later and showing us that he is not only worthy of our adulation in more ways than one, but that he also is the type of person, just the type of person, who would end up being a friend of the Federation. And now, of course, he's my man crush. I've stated it before. I'll state it again. He is my man crush. Now, I don't know if anybody else, like me, did a lot of crying in this episode. I mean, the waterworks were completely on. From the beginning of the episode, when she got up and she said, stand, and then she willed herself, walk. I don't know why, but there were tears in my eyes. And there were tears in my eyes and a lot from that opening sequence with Burnham. Then I found myself boo-hooing again towards the end of the episode. Now, my last round of tears came from the revelation of who the gentleman was in the cold open of the show during that Groundhog Day type montage of him waking up and repeatedly doing the same things again and again. Once we found out exactly who he was, oh my gosh, the tears. That man symbolized the very epitome of what faith and what hope mean. For decades, he just got up and performed a duty for no one, prepared to serve anyone who walked through that door and said they held the same ideals that he and the generations of his family before him held. To me, that was, it hit me in the feels. And when I say tears, I was moved to real, actual tears. Both times I watched the episode, because I watched it twice. And let me tell you, I think this may be the first episode of Star Trek Discovery that I watched twice on the same day. So the tears and the fact that I wanted to go back and go back through that trauma again or it's not so much trauma, to go back through those feelings again. That's saying a lot from a heartless bitch like myself. Yes, so Aditya Sahil, you won the episode. You, sir, were the person who completely broke me. Sonequa Martin Green and her range of emotions and what she can do with just the expressions on her face is completely awesome. But Mr. Sahil, you broke me. Congratulations, you won the episode. And then we found out a little bit more about this burn, which when every ship that ran on dilithium blew up, thousands of ships destroyed, many people killed, lots of people died during that burn. And I'm wondering now, are we going to find out that it wasn't this omega molecule, that there was something else at play? And then Book made the statement that the Gorn destroyed 2 light years of subspace. So that was another thing, like, did the Gorn perpetrate this against this system of planets or the entire Federation? Also, Romulans don't use dilithium. So are they now kind of the alphas of the Alpha Quadrant? That is something else that got me to thinking. The new tech that we saw in this episode excited me, and I can't wait to see what else they unveil. What else is possible in the 32nd century that was not possible where we came from. We heard Book ask for a dilithium recrystallizer, and I know that stood out to me for a reason. And the reason was because in Discovery Season 2, we saw the person who invented that dilithium recrystallizer, and it was kind of a nice callback, and it lets us know that that piece of equipment is going to be very important. It's like dilithium is the most wanted substance in the world at this point, on many worlds at this point. I'm also anticipating the gang getting back together. We have seen scenes of them meeting back up, but I'm glad, let's just take our time to get to the point where everybody meets back up and kumbaya happens. And then I remember something else that Mr. Sahil said to Burnham. He said he sees 2 Starfleet vessels, but neither one of them had the call number. So we know that there are 2 other Starfleet vessels in that sector. Who's on them and what are they doing? Like, what's the deal? Who is part of the crew of these other 2 vessels? And last but not least, we see the change in hairstyle for Michael Burnham. And I just need to know who did her braids in the 32nd century because they look dope. They really looked good. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What did you like the most? Did you catch any phrases or any Easter eggs that I may have missed in my retelling of this? I will try to get these episodes out the next day after the Thursday screening on CBS All Access. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying the content, please join me again here. I'll make at least 2 videos a week. And also, like and subscribe to the channel. Help me grow. And in the meantime, we're going to go back in our minds and just think about Booker without that shirt. And while you're thinking, there's a video that you could watch if you want a little bit more of me. On that note, I've got nothing else for you. I will catch you all in the next one. Live long and prosper. Peace.